in the presidency responsible for planning, monitoring and evaluation, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, will deliver the eulogy at the special official funeral of the late liberation struggle stalwart Eric Stalin Mtshali. This is the coffin that's being taken out. He passed away at the age of 84 following a short illness. Now, President Cyril Ramaphosa declared the funeral a special official funeral, Category 1, and instructed that the national flag fly at half-mast at all flag stations countrywide and at South African diplomatic missions abroad until the evening of tonight, the 21st of October, that's today. So we're gonna come back to that, the scenes there in Durban in a short while. Let's take.
Yes, hi. Can you hear me now? Live from the Sugar Ray Kulu Stadium in Claremont. I can hear you, but I can't hear program sound. No. And obviously I need Blaine, to hear Blaine, so he can link to me. They're not? Okay. You see, once the thing starts, Nat, can you see the body is being led into the stadium now? It's going to be too late for us now. No, I can't. Yeah. Okay. All right. The thing is now with the body coming in, we can't do a setter now. I can't. I can only hear Nati. Okay, what I'm saying is that once the thing starts, you can't do a crossing with us. Yeah, Bolondab. Ulanam. He's here with me. He's on the phone with them. I'm talking to Nati. Yeah. No, I can't hear program sound, but they on our visuals. Ish, they're using our visuals. They're on our visuals, but we just. Okay, all right. Ish, let's drop it. There's no way we can talk over this. Okay, ngiyamuzwa umzwandile. I can hear. I can hear them now. No. Blaine is talking. I can.
President Cyril Ramaphosa declared the funeral a special official funeral, Category 1, and instructed that the national flags fly at half-mast at all flag stations countrywide until this evening. Let's listen to the anthem.
So should we stand down? Yeah?
Thank you very much. May we please take our seats.
Sorry for the wait. Apologies there.
Mrs. Mtshali, the children, grandchildren, the Kunene and Mtshali families, Minister in the Presidency, Ms. Dlamini-Zuma, and all the ministers present, former President, His Excellency J.G. Zuma and Mrs. Zuma, Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Chairperson of the NCOP, members of the National Executive Committee, and alliance leaders, honorable ministers, premiers, deputy ministers, MECs, members of the diplomatic corps, executive mayors and mayors, leaders of political parties, traditional leaders, religious leaders, Mr. George Mavrikos from the WAFTU, our honored veterans, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends. My name is Dlamini-Zuma. I'm going to be one of your program directors, and with me are the two other comrades, colleagues, MEC in the province for social development, Ms. Weziwe Tusi, and the Minister for Public Works, Minister Thulas Nxesi. We will be sharing this special task, and we want to thank all of you for joining us today to pay tribute and convey our condolences to the family of the Mtshali and the Kunene families, to all their friends and relatives, to all the comrades. I'd like to also say all of us here wish to collectively indicate how sad we are on the occasion But we also want to say to all of us, it is a special occasion where we celebrate the life of a hero, a revolutionary, a stalwart, one of those very few who have been part of this journey towards the attainment of our democracy for many, many years, who for his entire life he has spent fighting for the cause of freedom, of democracy, on the side of the workers, and has been amongst those pioneering heroes who have actually laid the foundation for our struggle for freedom. So we would like you to work with us as we take this program through. We also want to issue a word of special welcome to the Secretary General of WAFTU, Mr. George Mafrikos, amongst all of us mourners who are here. Having given the whole list of the acknowledgements of all of us who are here, I think we should allow us to just simply say, fellow mourners, at this point, I'm going to request that Ms. Weziwe Thusi comes forth and take us through the first part of the program. We will be working together throughout this program until the end, and we hope that we will find good cooperation from all of us here so that we can take this program to conclusion with the dignity that it deserves for the hero that we are here to honor. Thank you very much, Ms. Weziwe Thusi. Thank you very much, Mrs.
Thank you very much, Kabazele. To the Mtshali family, the Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, the Premier of the province, the former President, Mr. Jacob Zuma, and all fellow mourners. We have come here, as Ukabazele has said, to celebrate the life that was well lived, and we've come to say to the family, thank you very much for sharing Ubabu Mtshali with us. We really want to thank you. I will now invite the Premier of the province, Baba Uthembi Nkosi Willis Mkhunu, to come and do the welcoming remarks. Makingwane, over to you. We will request that all speakers stick to the time that is allocated to them so that we are able to finish on time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Program Director. The Mtshali family, Bomakalela, Minister for Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, former President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Mr. Jacob Zuma, and Mama Zuma, Leader of Government Business, Mr. Sihlezi Galala, leaders of the Alliance, the ANC, SACP, COSATU and SANCO, leaders of the Veterans League, and leaders of the MK, Military Veterans Association, ANC Women's League, ANC Youth League, the Young Communist Party, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. May I start firstly by extending our warm greetings to the Mtshali and Gunene families who today have allowed us to say farewell to our brother, our father, our comrade, and a comrade who has been a mentor to many comrades, Comrade Eric, Man of Steel, Stalin Mtshali. We also wish to express our sincerest appreciation to the Mtshali family and the Gunene family, as well as to the South African Communist Party for allowing the people of this province and the country to pay their last respects in a manner befitting of this hero of our people. My task on this platform today is to welcome all of you. For those who come from outside the borders of the province, you are most welcome to KwaZulu-Natal. We all welcome you to this solemn occasion as we join millions in South Africa, the rest of Africa, and the world, who say they too feel a sense of loss, they too share in the pain of Comrade Mtshali's demise. For good reason, Comrade Eric became known in political circles as Stalin, because in many ways his life was at once representative of the ideals of our own revolution, but at the same time mirrored the vision of that young Joseph Stalin and that the leader of the Soviet Union, part of which today in the form of Russia is our partner in BRICS. Like the Soviet Union revolutionary, Comrade Stalin Mtshali was at the nose of our revolution. Thus we say farewell, but also we say long live the undying spirit of Comrade Mtshali, long live. Comrade Mtshali spent his life organizing workers, mobilizing a fighting army, theorizing about our revolution, and at the same time putting theory into practice. Like his namesake in the Soviet Union, Comrade Eric was also ever ready to defend and spread the ideas and teachings of Lenin. Like the best of revolutionaries, he believed that daily concrete and practical struggles best explained the simple logic and historical necessity of the revolution. Like the best of our revolutionaries, Comrade Stalin believed that the best conception of a party of the proletariat is one that, in the words of Joseph Stalin, I quote, underlines the need to give a socialist consciousness to the labor movement and to combine the labor movement with socialism. Program director, as many will recall, like Vladimir Lenin and Joseph Stalin, perhaps in a different manner, Comrade Stalin also proposed the following questions to us, and these remain relevant today, and I quote, what is scientific socialism without the working class movement? A compass which, if left unused, will only grow rusty and then will have to be thrown overboard. What is the working class movement without socialism? A ship without a compass which will reach the other shore in any case, but would reach it much sooner and with less danger if it had a compass. While Comrade Stalin Mtshali saw the leading role of the working class as primary, he also saw too that if only the working class could lead the struggle, that struggle would never be won, especially in our case in South Africa. It was therefore vital to win allies for the working class. And for this, he found better allies in the African National Congress and all other alliance partners. Even back then, the methods of those who wanted to fight against the necessary unity of our movement were identified as including agents who wanted to disarm the working class through class collaboration with their class enemies, or attempting to defeat the workers by using violence on one hand and concessions on the other. We have briefly touched on this aspect of our history, merely to state that the struggles we fought in this country were linked to the fight for freedom in the rest of the world. We have therefore, in Comrade Stalin's politics and person, a lived example of what our government of the ANC crafted as a vision of a free South Africa, a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic South Africa. We are pleased to welcome all of you to this occasion to lay to rest Comrade Eric, man of steel, Stalin Mtshali, an illustrious cadre of our movement, who wanted absolute but principled unity of the liberation forces. At this juncture, we want to again, like we have said before, thank His Excellency, President Ramaphosa, for honoring Comrade Eric Stalin Mtshali with a special official funeral Category 1, which is reserved for a very few. In remembrance of Comrade Stalin, we must restore the culture of integrity, commitment, selfless dedication to service, honesty, discipline, fairness, justice within the ANC and the Alliance. As we call for the strengthening of the Labour Federation and the Labour movement as a whole, we say farewell. We say farewell, Comrade Stalin. We say long live, Comrade Stalin. As we call for the strengthening of the party, we say farewell and long live, Comrade Stalin. As we call for the strengthening of the ANC, we say farewell and long live, Comrade Stalin. As we call on the civics to consolidate the gains of our revolution, and as we call for the alliance to strengthen, we say farewell and long live, Comrade Stalin. Program Director, may I use this opportunity to wish the family of Comrade Stalin all the strength and fortitude during this time, today and in the future. We thank you for giving us this hero of our people. We thank Mama Gunene, Mam Gcinin, for taking care of Comrade Mtshali in his last and sickly days of his life. Lindy, we thank you for having left your comfort zone of Johannesburg to be with your father when he became seriously ill. We hope that as a family of our hero, your lives will remain intertwined with the ANC-led alliance. We salute finally, Comrade Stalin. Your journey is run. It is now left for us to pick up the spear and to soldier on. Farewell, men of steel. With these few words, we welcome you all. Long live, Comrade Stalin, long live. Mandla.
Thank you very much, Makingwane, for welcoming us. Indeed, Ubabu Stalin was a disciplined cadre of this movement. We hope that everybody will learn from him. Now we will invite Ubaba Reverend Sipho Mthethwa for the reading of the obituary. And shall we all stand except for the family for the reading of the obituary? Mfundisi, over to you.
Thank you to the program directors. As she said, we shall respectfully request that all of us stand for my grandfather-in-law's obituary, Comrade Eric Stalin Mtshali, the man of steel. Comrade Eric Stalin Mtshali was born in Claremont in Durban on the 20th of November 1933. He was a recipient of the National Order of Mendi for bravery in silver in recognition of his excellent contribution to the fight against the oppressive and racist apartheid regime. He attended both primary and secondary school in Claremont and was introduced to the struggle when he was a high school learner by Comrade Wilson Cele, who was the district secretary of the South African Communist Party. Comrade Mtshali was an amateur boxer at school. Claremont was declared a so-called freehold area, meaning that it was one of the few settlements in South Africa where black people were allowed to buy and own property. Comrade Cele introduced Comrade Stalin to the local Ratepayers Association. Comrade Mtshali later discovered that their meetings every Sunday were actually African National Congress meetings. He and the four of his friends who were drawn closer to the association used to sing, particularly the struggle song, Maibuye Africa. However, at the time, they did not fully comprehend what that meant in a broader context in which they had become closely associated with the members of Ratepayers Association, who were known as Amapegula Ikoni, literally meaning troublemakers, but revolutionary. Revolutionary is in its proper meaning in the movement. Comrade Cele worked together with Comrade Harry Gwala, who later became known as the Lion of the Midlands, as well as with Comrade Stephen Dlamini and Marimutu Pragalathan MP Naika. These comrades influenced Comrade Mtshali to join the SACP in 1957. At that time, the party was an underground organization following its banning by the apartheid regime in 1950 under the Suppression of Communism Act. It therefore operated almost entirely as a form of secret society into which recruitment was preceded by thoroughgoing investigation, screening and targeted induction and advanced training on an identified recruit. Comrade Mtshali joined the ANC a year after his recruitment as a member of the South African Communist Party. By this time, he had already started accumulating experience of work in mass organizations, having joined the trade unions in 1950 and 1951. Another struggle stalwart who participated in shaping Comrade Mtshali's political and ideological worldview was Comrade Rusty Bernstein. It was Comrade Cele who introduced Comrade Mtshali to trade union organizations while he was still a high school learner, during which period he worked on a casual basis at the Durban dock and harbour during weekends and school recess. As a young man, Comrade Mtshali wanted to follow a career that would help him make money. However, he was not convinced until Comrade Cele gave him a pamphlet titled The Three Sources and Three Component Parts of Marxism by Vladimir Lenin, the historic leader of the Great October Socialist Revolution that took place in Russia in 1917. This engagement succeeded in convincing Comrade Mtshali to change his mind. He was also influenced by a section in the pamphlet stating that people have always been victims of deceit, and that will remain so until they examine the class interests that underpin economic and other social phenomena. Comrade Mtshali started trade union organizing for the Dock and Harbour Workers Union 1951, when he was still a casual worker loading and unloading goods from the ships. At that time, he was paid a mere 15 shillings per week. And during this time, he started attending political classes and workshops organized by the union and became active in the struggle for a living wage and improved employment conditions. He became involved in the formation of the South African Congress of Trade Unions, SACP, in March 1955. SACP became part of the Congress Alliance, together with the ANC, the Congress of Democrats, the Colored People's Congress, and the South African Indian Congress. While in theory, the Congress Alliance was legally made up of these five formations, in practice, the SACP, which was then underground, and from which Comrade Mtshali was receiving systematic political education and ideological training, was the sixth component. Its members and leaders were active in the other Congress Alliance formations and formed part of their leadership in organizing the Congress of the People that adopted the Freedom Charter on 26 June 1955. Comrade Mtshali was one of the tens of thousands of volunteers who participated in collecting the freedom demands of the people countrywide in the democratic consultation process that led to the writing of the Freedom Charter. One of the first major responses by the apartheid regime was the banning of the entire SACP leadership, the ANC in 1960, as well as other formations. The SACP and the ANC responded by establishing Umkhonto weSizwe, the MK, Spear of the People, Lerumo la Setjhaba, in 1961. Comrade Mtshali, who became affectionately known as Comrade Stalin, Man of Steel, was among the first comrades who were prepared to pay the highest price of their lives in the struggle for liberation, and accordingly joined Umkhonto weSizwe. He was one of those, the most advanced and resolute cadres who, based on his communist conviction, directly linked this struggle for the national democratic revolution to socialism, a transition, according to his belief, from the oppressive and exploitative system of capitalism and its social and environmental consequences to a classless society free from all forms of class oppression, inequalities, exploitation, and domination. Comrade Mtshali left South Africa in July 1962 and went into exile without an opportunity to inform his family. 8 years later, having had no contact with them, his first wife, Jabu Sibisi, passed on. He married his second wife, Thokozile Mtshali, near Makubu in 1980. She passed on in 2012 after they had been separated for 19 years. Comrade Mtshali was deployed to the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics for military and intelligence training. He spent 2 terms at the party school in the Soviet Union. He was later deployed to receive further training in Cuba. On his return, he was deployed to the Umkhonto weSizwe's first military base in Tanzania and appointed Chief of Personnel. He worked under comrades Moses Kotane, John Beaver J.B. Marks, and Moses Mabida. Comrade Kotane was also the South African Communist Party General Secretary, the longest serving ever. Comrade Mtshali was elected to the Central Committee of the party in 1971. The same year he started serving as the chief representative of the African National Congress in Tanzania, a role he played for 5 years until 1976. Comrade Stalin became one of the founding members of the Intelligence Division of the African National Congress, and until his last breath, the last surviving of its co-founders. Together with comrades Chris Hani, Benson Zele, and Don Nangu, they founded The Dawn, a weekly journal of Umkhonto weSizwe, of which he was the editor from 1964 to 1969. Comrade Mtshali's involvement in political education using the magazine The Dawn provided a clear direction on various strands of thought among the soldiers who were trained in the Soviet Union and in China, respectively, especially during the Sino-Soviet split. Man of Steel received further training while in Tanzania, and thereafter he was deployed to Egypt together with Comrade Lambert Muloi for special higher training to lay the basis for the future political military campaigns against the apartheid regime. Comrade Mtshali served in a crucial unit that started the sabotage missions against the apartheid regime. He handled all his tasks with extreme care and dedication. In his capacity as the Chief of Personnel, he was also responsible for transporting Umkhonto weSizwe members and military hardware in one of the crucial military programs across the Zambezi River. Together with about 40 Umkhonto weSizwe combatants, Comrade Mtshali attempted to enter South Africa in 1970, but the mission was recalled after they realized that it was compromised. He had participated in the Wenki and Spolilo campaigns in 1967, in which he commanded 12 Umkhonto weSizwe and Zimbabwe African People's Union combatants, ZAPU's combatants, to rescue a section of the Lutuli detachment that had been surrounded by the forces of the oppressor regime in then Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe. The combatants crossed the river in 3 dinghies, 2 of which capsized, with most of the occupants being attacked by crocodiles, necessitating a new rescue mission inside a rescue mission. Comrade Mtshali was one of the central figures in the James Bond unit, which managed to smuggle firearms and carried out fully fledged sabotage operations against the apartheid regime. After the mid-1970s, Men of Steel was deployed to work as a SACP representative at the World Federation of Trade Unions, WFTU, in Prague, in then Czechoslovakia. He had sacrificed a lot in building the proletarian, class-oriented trade union movement in South Africa and had accumulated sufficient experience in trade union organizing from his dedication and selfless service to the workers. At one point, he had no income and survived on bananas as a daily lunch whilst organizing workers in South Africa. Comrade Stalin continued to serve workers with outstanding loyalty, and the WFTU deployed him to establish trade unions in many parts of Africa. He worked in Ethiopia, in the Sudan, and in Morocco, pioneering the development of the progressive trade union movement. He formed the first open trade unions in Ethiopia during the time of President Mengistu Haile Mariam. Previously, trade unions were suppressed in Ethiopia. The WFTU further deployed Comrade Mtshali to revive the trade union movement in the Sudan after the massacre of communists, including the General Secretary of the Communist Party in that country. He went to Sudan to carry out work despite the danger that the mission involved. The Communist Party in the Sudan, which remained resilient during that period of brutal attacks, helped the Men of Steel to revive the country's trade union movement. The South African Communist Party assigned comrades Joe Matthews and Comrade Mtshali to establish the Communist Party of Lesotho. The assignment signified the critical role that he played in the work of the party and symbolized the trust that he had earned. In Lesotho, he worked among other revolutionaries with Comrade Mokgafi Sikena. The mission was very crucial in Lesotho, both in its national and international context, as well as paving the way to bringing down the apartheid regime in South Africa. During the 1980s, Men of Steel became involved in reviving the trade union movement inside South Africa. It was during this period that many of the affiliates of the Congress of South African Trade Unions, COSATU, and the Federation itself were established. COSATU became SACP's successor in the National Democratic Revolutionary Alliance, headed by the African National Congress. Comrade Mtshali was also a member of the ANC-headed Revolutionary Council. And he returned to South Africa in 1991 after the unbanning of the South African Communist Party, the African National Congress, and other political organizations. Following the April 1994 democratic elections, he served as the Deputy Commissioner of Police and Crime Intelligence in KwaZulu-Natal from 1995 to the year 2000. He was nominated to serve as a ward councillor of the African National Congress in eThekwini in the year 2000. Despite a wealth of many years of national and international experience that could have enabled him to serve in a senior state structure nationally, he chose to serve the people as a ward councillor, a role he played for 4 years until 2004, when he was elected to serve as a member of parliament. He served as a member of the parliamentary portfolio committees on labor, on education and housing, now human settlements. At the time of his death, Comrade Stalin, he was the longest-serving central member of the South African Communist Party, the Central Committee member. At its 14th Congress in July 2017, the party conferred on him one of its highest awards, the Moses Kotane Award, for his excellent service to the peace-loving people of South Africa and the world working class struggle for social emancipation. He became a lifetime member of the Central Committee of the SACP. He passed away on Friday, the 12th of October this year after a long illness. He's survived by his third wife, Ukoko Ugcinile Kunene Mtshali, and the daughters, Ulindiwe Mtshali and Amanda Kunene, 7 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren. Amoya wakhe o robalela kagiso, may his soul rest in peace. Amen.
We may be seated. Thank you very much, Nyambose, for illustrating to us who this gentle giant was. I will now invite a well-renowned poet, Ubaba Upitikantuli, and then after Ubaba Upitikantuli, I will invite our co-program director, Minister Ungesi, to come forward and continue with the program. Thank you very much.
To the Mtshali and Gunene family, in these dark days, while we mourn, but we also celebrate a life well lived. First, they said we were natives. They put us under the Department of Native Affairs. When they learned that native meant we owned the land, they changed. They called us Bantu under the Department of Bantu Affairs. When they learned that Bantu meant we were the people, they changed. They called us plurals. Under the Department of Plural Affairs, our revolution became singular. Then they called us cooperatives. Under the Department of Cooperative Affairs, we cooperated to form United France. How could we be defeated? Eric Stalin Mtshali was a communist. He broke diplomatic relations, with God. And then, but we'll have to share a prayer at this time. P.W. Botha is my shepherd, I am in want. He maketh me to lie down in street corners. He disturbs my soul for apartheid's sake. Yet though I walk through the valleys and shadows of inflation, I anticipate no recovery, for he is against me. He prepareth a reduction in my salary, he increases my VAT, my expenses runneth over. Surely unemployment and uprising shall follow him all the days of his administration. I shall carry my AK-47 forever and ever. Ratata, ratata, ratata. Comrade Eric reminds me of one hero in this province who, whenever a problem arose, he was there available to do it. And his name was Unozishada Gamakobos. Umzikomero Jengesilwani, Ungamula Batamakambi, Uke Puzulunko Zabantu Nezinkomo, Umasangula Ngotweni, Umaliwengenti Mangatuya Zalela, Useta Gedawana Yake Yotwana, Gwazi Wezikana Nazana, Unjalu Gagodovia Masitazana, why set it as a Bamba Guyo, Kebangiakala, Wabiko Sletala Bafana, and Gwabona Mato Debzalwanabo, Gibona Bafana Botwa.
Dlamini-Zuma osiholayo namhlanje uhulumeni ngibingelele former president Dlamini-Zuma engakhohlwa military command today, who are led by the acting chief of the South African Defence Force, General Masonda, sibabingelele nawo. Nabo bonke ubuholi obukhona namhlanje ongqongqoshe, amasekela ongqongqoshe, o-MEC, natsho nje ngithi nala esifundeni ngokuhola obakumacingwane uNkulunkulu. Umbimbi lo okhona abaholi bakhona namhlanje. Aholwa namhlanje ikomanisi esilibiza ukuthi umdengento uGeneral Secretary we-South African Communist Party uDlamini-Zuma. Mina-ke ma-comrades ngizoqala nje ngibize ispeaker ekumele sisondele ngeseWAFU, the World Federation of the Trade Union. Kumele nikhumbule ukuthi ubaba Mtshali was an internationalist who understood that our struggle against apartheid was also an international struggle against imperialism and racism, and that we could never be truly free whilst other people were oppressed. And in the words of our own comrade Mtshali, and I quote, "We know too well that our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians. We could put word for word, repeating that tribute of Yusuf Tattoo, speaking at the funeral of his longtime comrade, Moses Kodan. And he said, I quote, "His life is a true example of the consistency between the proletariat internationalism and healthy nationalism. He spent realism in all its forms, whether expressed in white arrogance or black chauvinism, never hiding his dedication to the cause of communism. He also became a respected leader of the African National Congress because of his great contribution to the work of that organization over decades." And unquote. These words apply to Baba Mtshali. That is why it is completely appropriate that our next speaker represents the spirit, or that spirit of internationalism. Today, all the way from Greece, Baba Mtshali, as an internationalist who worked in the trade union, in the international trade union movement. We have George Mafrikos, the General Secretary of the World Federation of Trade Unions. And then I'm calling him to come and send his message to the South African people. Mr. Mafrikos, where are you?
Dear family of Eric Mtshali, ladies and gentlemen, dear comrades, brothers and sisters of COSATU and South African class-oriented trade union movement, it was my task to come here immediately from Europe for this official funeral of our comrade Eric Mtshali. I am here on behalf of international anti-imperialistic trade union movement, on behalf of World Federation of Trade Unions, on behalf of OAFU. Today is a day of mourning for our members in 5 continents, for 95 million workers in 130 countries. Today is a day that the militant banners of the OAFU are flying a half-mast across the globe. Today, the bid favored to a legend, a hero of the South African liberation fight against imperialism. Eric Mtshali Stalin is no longer between us. He is now resting with all these anonymous and known heroes of our big trade union family who were not afraid of state repression, who did not bend the knee in front of the guns, who did not stop fighting for the emancipation of the class who produced all the wealth. The man of steel, as you said, to call him, has honored with his life and action the historic SACP, COSATU, and his party, the South African Communist Party. He was also honored with the presence, the WAFTU WFTU, as representative for many years of the South African workers when the headquarters of WAFTU were in Prague, in Czechoslovakia. A militant who has turned internationalism into action when they personally contributed in the development of unions and in the foundation of trade unions organizations in Africa, in Namibia, in Ethiopia, in Morocco, and etc. When he materially, morally, and ideologically stood up on the side of the African continent people who were fighting against neo-colonialism, not only with slogans, but with actions in practice. A worthy son of working class himself, as a dog worker, he understood from the very early stage the need to organize workers for the overthrow of apartheid. He put into action the WFTU slogan, "No worker must feel alone." The World Federation of Trade Unions honored Eric Mtshali when he was still alive and will keep honoring him through the struggles to come. In the struggles for a society without man-by-man exploitation. Dear comrades, who can forget the moving moments we lived here in Durban during the 17th Trade Union Congress in October 2018, where Comrade Eric was still among us and raised with pride the flag of WFTU, inaugurating this way the works of our Congress. A consequent fighter of the WFTU from the beginning till the end. The WAFTU, the World Federation of Trade Unions, as a humble tribute to its great fighter, would like to announce from this podium today the creation of the Eric Mtshali Trade Union Prize. It is going to be a prize awarded memory of Mtshali in order to inspire the old militants and to teach the younger ones. We, as the showing of this action, we will continue his legacy, which is also a legacy of every member of our family. So we should laud with you today, Hambla Kahle Kamarad Eric Mtshali. Long live the spirit of our Kamarad Eric Mtshali. Thank you very much.
Come on, son. Viva the ANC, viva! Viva the SACP, viva! Viva the spirit of internationalism, viva! That's very clear from the speaker that this was a real internationalist. The American civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. put it this way: if a man hasn't discovered something that he will die for, he isn't fit to live. Mtshali had discovered something to live for, and that was humanity internationally. That's what we have heard. Comrades, ngiceliwe ukuthi ngicele nxuse ukuthi sonke thina abathi sizophelezela ubaba uMtshali uMagalela siziphathe ngenhlonipho enkulu. Kaloku ubaba uMtshali simazi nge-iron discipline ukuthi senze lo mngcwabo ukuthi ube nesidima nesithozelo. Sifuna ukusho-ke sokuthi ubuholi busitshelile ukuthi singavumi ukuthi kungabikho abangasihloniphi kulo mngcwabo, kungabikho abazodisrupta kulo mngcwabo. Sishilo-ke thina sathi siyamakomanisi, siwukhongolose, siyabasebenzi, sibambisene noSanko othe wangaziphathi kahle kulo mngcwabo, azi ukuthi masivula ngomvulo sobe sesimxoshile embuthweni wethu. Sifuna-ke wonke umuntu aziphathe kahle, sihloniphe lo mngcwabo. Siyalungisa-ke manje, silungiselela ukubiza isikhulumi esilandelayo. Masilungiselela ukubiza lesikhulumi, sifuna ukusho ukuthi ubaba uMtshali understood. He understood the importance of unity of the alliance in our struggle against apartheid, for the radical socio-economic transformation. And we want to emphasize not the radical economic looting we see today and state capture and the VBS. It was very clear on that. This tradition of the alliance has a long history. In 1928, the resolution of the South African question was adopted by the Executive Committee of the Communist International following the 6th Congress of the Committee, and it stated, I quote, "The Communist Party of South Africa must combine the fight against all the anti-African laws with the general political slogan in the fight against the British domination. The slogan of an independent native South African Republic as a stage towards the workers and the British Republic, with the full equal rights for all the races, black, colored and white." And they achieved this goal, it said, the party paid particular attention to the embraced national organizations among the Africans, such as the African National Congress. The party, whilst retaining its full independence, should participate in these organizations, should seek to broaden and extend their activity. Our aim be to transform the African National Congress into a fighting national revolutionary organization, and representing today that tradition of the alliance, now 90 years in existence, is our next speaker, which is the General Secretary of the South African Communist Party, speaking on behalf of the alliance, demonstrating the unity we've been talking about. Niyayazi ke makomanisi ukuthi uGeneral Secretary uphakanyiswa kanjani, i-leader ye-alliance iphakanyiswa kanjani. Izani nengoma maqabane. Izani nengoma ma-comrades. Thetha nzimande, thetha nzimande, thetha. Thetha nzimande, nzimande, thetha koma. Songela kanjani, songela kanjani, songela kanjani. Songela kanjani, thetha nzimande, mande thetha komane, thetha nzimande, nzimande thetha komane se.
Amanda! Amanda! Long live the memory of Comrade Alex Stalin Mtshali, long live! Long live the memory of Mtshali, long live! Amanda! Program directors, umndeni kaBaba the Minister and the President, Comrade Dlamini-Zuma, Comrade Tulas Maesi, the National Deputy Chairperson of the South African Communist Party, and all the members of the Central Committee who are here today, the General Secretary of COSATU, Comrade Mtshali, the leadership of COSATU, and all our alliance leaders, the ANC and SANCO, who are here, former President of the ANC and the Republic, Comrade Jacob Zuma, and all the veterans of our movement who are here with us, Comrade George Mavrikos, the General Secretary of WAFU, fellow mourners, silana mhlanje ukuzovalelisa siyobeka leliqhawe ubaba uMtshali. Baba Mtshali has been an embodiment of our alliance, a leader of the Communist Party, a leader of the ANC, a leader of our then South African Congress of Trade Unions. We want to say on behalf of the Alliance, sitemdenini, sizozolana nani, ngokulahlekelwa kwenu, ilensizwa. Kodwa sibe sithandlahlekelwanga nodwa, silahlekelwe nathi siyilomfela ndawonye Alliance. Ukuhamba kubaMtshali umuntu obeseneminyaka enjengeyakhe, ngokomthetho kufanele ngakasikhali. Ukuthi ube yindoda strong into esikhalisayo, you would never thought ukuthi ubaMtshali will one day depart from this world. He was like he was going to be a permanent feature amongst ourselves. Ube yindoda strong kakhulu. Here is our message as the Alliance comrades. Firstly, the values that cadres and leaders like Mtshali stood for were never values that were just only to guide the struggle against apartheid, as if after the defeat of the apartheid regime, those values are no longer necessary. Those values are even more necessary today, the values of selfless service to our people. Also, when we say goodbye to Mtshali, we need to remind ourselves that the fact that you were in the struggle against apartheid is not a license that today you must use your position in the movement or in government to loot and enrich yourself. Comrade Mao said, if you were a revolutionary day before yesterday and continue to be a revolutionary yesterday, but today you are no longer a revolutionary, we will never call you a revolutionary. You are no longer a revolutionary. Comrades, we want also to say every generation in our struggle has had its own tasks. Mtshali, they are a very special generation in our struggle. One of their most important contributions is that they never allowed the movement to die, especially in the 1960s, when the apartheid regime had thought that it had defeated our struggle. Their work and resilience, especially in the 1960s, laid the basis for resurgence of workers and youth struggles of the 1970s and the community struggles of the 1980s that ultimately spearheaded the defeat of the apartheid regime. Ukuba Mtshali babanga nenkani yokuzabalaza ngesikhathi kuvalwa umlomo embutho yethu cishe mabasikho la sikhona namhlanje sikhuluma ngeNingizimu Afrika ekhululekile. Mtshali babambe iqhaza kwenye indawo futhi ebaluleke kakhulu. Abazange bathi uma sithola inkululeko ngo-1994 sebezohlala phansi bathi bawuqedile umsebenzi wabo. Mtshali uqhubekile wazabalaza ekutheni sakhe iSouth Africa ebesiyilwela nekusasa esifisa ukuthi izizukulwane zethu ziphile ngaphansi kwaso. I want to say this because when we are here, we also must tell our history. Mtshali played a very important role in rebuilding and rooting our alliance, especially after 1990. With regard to the SACP, abantu abaningi do not realize some of the difficulties faced by the SACP in the early 1990s. The Soviet Union had collapsed, and many people had believed that socialism has no future. Mtshali said it was not socialism that collapsed, but a particular kind of socialism that was built in the Soviet Union. Kungako namhlanje sithi kunina amakomanisi landelani Mtshali ngoba our ultimate solution to our problems is socialism, akuyona inqubo yogxowankulu i-capitalism. Sibe neyinkinga sangamakomanisi. More than half of our central committee in the early 1990s left the SACP. and we're the younger generation that had to rebuild the SACP. And Ubaba Mtshali was amongst those who provided the anchor between the period of illegality and underground and the rebuilding of the SACP. Simula weruna bhala wethu ngo-1993 ucomrade uChrisani ngenhloso yokuthi kuzala ukuqeda umbutho wethu. Kodwa Ubaba Mtshali baqhubeka bayilambu elisikhanyiselayo. It was also for these reasons that Ubaba Mtshali liked the Young Communist League. Comrades of the YCL know ukuthi Ubaba Mtshali was a permanent member and the youngest member of the Young Communist League because of his liking of young people and especially to educate our youth. Ubaba Mtshali liked political education. And I think it is important, comrades, that in fulfilling one of the challenges that we face as the Alliance, to unite ourselves, to be reminded that you cannot unite any organization or any alliance unless it is grounded on sound political knowledge and understanding. Asikwazi ukuhlanganisa umbutho ngabantu abangahabulile. Okubaluleke kakhulu ukuthi namhlanje sesinabaholi abanye abangamafonkong abangafuni abantu abahabulile ngoba bafuna ukubakontrola babatshele ukuthi benzeni ukuze basebenzise imbutho yethu ukufeza inhloso zabo. We cannot take our revolution forward unless we have an educated cadreship. Ubaba Mtshali was a disciplinarian, as it has been said, who believed in democratic centralism. We need to remind ourselves, comrades, this is what has kept our alliance going. Decisions by higher structures are binding on all lower structures, but higher structures must consult with lower structures before they arrive at a decision. Asingathi sekuthathwe inqumo abaholi kube khona abantu abagijima laphansi bayothi le nqumo eseyithathwe izakhiwe phezulu akuzona inqumo okufanele ilandelwe. Akona ama-cadres ethu lawo imhlwembe esingayifuni la embuthweni ukuze sikwazi ukuthi siqhubekele phambili. Baba uStalin ubelithanda iqiniso ma-comrades. Funa ukusho lokho. Wabe seliya ngokushoda iqiniso uma singabhekile. Abantu bakhuluma amanga aqonda ukuthi bayosuthisa izisu zabo. I-comrade uma ulubuza ulizwe lishona le nale liyangingiza nje awusalizwa ukuthi lithini. Lifana nalabo abantu ababephuzela amanzi uJesu awaphendulila iwayini kuthiwa sebekhuluma iy'limi. Ubaba uMtshali ubengabafuni abantu abakhuluma iy'limi. Comrade umase ngiyoqeda nje imessage yethu siyalliance ukuthi Ubaba uMtshali departs during a very complicated revolution, complicated period, of our revolution. We are facing huge challenges in our country at the moment. We are facing persistent economic stagnation, but in true memory of Ubaba Mtshali, let's support the initiative by government to try and revitalize our economy. The Job Summit resolutions and the investment conference convened by President Ramaphosa next week. We are faced with the challenge of the corporate capture of the state. We are saying to our people, let's all stand up and defend our state in order to build a developmental state. bakithi babhekene ney'nkinga engisho lento maMnkosazana Dlamini-Zuma ukuze lento ingakhulunywa yinina newomama kuphela. And ngifuna ukuchallenge abafundisi abala. Nibavumelelani abafundisi abathatha iy'ngane ey'ncane ezino-14 zamantombazane bayivalele bayiphendule igqila zocansi. Why are we quiet? Those of us, especially the religious fraternity, to allow these Fong Kong priests and pastors who are keeping young women and turning them into sex slaves. As the alliance to a mass call for the commission that deals with religious and linguistic rights to continue to fight this scourge. Nani bantu bakithi sicela nimsize bakithi ningathi niyosonta kanti niyosonta kwaSathane la kungekho khona inqubekela phambili ibe sifuna ukwakha ilizwe lethu kube izwe elihloniphekile. Now
Mtshali, but for the sake of the future of our country. Amandla! Long live the alliance, long live! Long live the alliance, long live! Amandla!
Sake ma comrades ke sifake ikhaya ke manje yaseClermont. Nizwileke siyabonga kwiClermont Choir ngathi le ngoma kufanele ifakwe manje ezikolweni iyazwakala kahle kwenzela ukuthi nezingane zizwe lento ukuthi ikhuluma ngayo. As we prepare to call for our next speaker, I want to say to the family, nothing can we say can take away from the pain that death brings in its wake. But we can offer a perspective that a life well lived is never a waste. And at such times, I always find comfort in quoting from the German communist poet Brecht, who wrote as follows, and I quote, "Do not fear death so much, but rather fear the inadequate life." There was nothing inadequate about the life of our dearly departed comrade Mtshali. Now we call a friend, a lifetime friend, a comrade in the underground, in the trenches of Mtshali. That is the former president of the Republic of South Africa and the former president of the African National Congress, Msholozi. Akusitshela ukuthi nanisebenza kanjani noBaba Mtshali.
Amandla awethu matla ke rona, all power, thina sizwe, Sikalela, ilathathwa, kabanzi. Mabawuyeke, mabawuyeke umhlaba, mabawuyeke, mabawuyeke thina sizwe, Sikalela, izwe elathathwa, siyabonga. Baphathi bohlelo nonke ngokuhloniphekileyo, Baba Nzimande nobhala jikelele wamakomanisi, nomama Nkosazana Dlamini omele u-African National Congress kanye nohulumeni, into eyodwa leyo akuhlukene. Mama
Makunene Mtshali nendodakazi kamfowethu comrade kamngani indodakazi kaBaba Mtshali nomndeni wonke wakwaMtshali bomagalela Ntonankulu wakwaZulu Natal Baba Macingwana kanye nabo bonke abaholi bakulesifunda sakwaZulu Natal amalungu National Executive Committee kaKhongolose namalungu Central Committee umbutho wamakomanisi namalungu esigungu sabasebenzi COSATU neSANCO nealliance yonke igabeni ezahlukahlukene members of the diplomatic corps abakhona kanye nathi amalungu district executive and nabo bonke omeya abakhona phakathi kwethu namhlanje abaholi bezepolitiki abakhona beqhamuka enhlanganweni ezahlukahlukeneyo Mongameli uSiril Ramaphosa noma engekho phakathi kwethu Isabel sethu siqavileyo uGeorge Maricos ophuma emhlabeni jikelele kubaholi babasebenzi amakhosi akhona abefundisi abakhona kanye nosomabhizinisi abakhona abakanye nathi abazokhala kanye nomndeni nonke nina nikhona nizophelezela leli qhawe la kaMtshali bomama nobaba namhlanje usuku olubuhlungu phakathi kwethu ngoba silahlekelwe iqhawe lamaqhawe silahlekelwe ivolunteer silahlekelwe umsebenzi silahlekelwe ikomanisi silahlekelwe ukomanda nokomisari kombutho wezempi wabantu base South Africa uStalin ube uhlobo olungandile ngezizathu ezimbalwa nje kodwa engifisa ukuphawula ngalo comrade wami ngalo mngani wami ngaleli qhawe engihloniphayo ukuthi ube sengomunye kwabambalwa abasele ababe nenhlanhla yokuba babe amalungu aphelele enhlanganweni zombimbi njengoba simazi okaHlabangana wayemsebenzi eyilungu labasebenzi engigqugquzeli kubasebenzi umuntu owaba umholi kubasebenzi
kulapho esahlangana naye khona esebenza ngendlela eyisimanga. Siyamazi futhi ukuthi ube yilungu eliqotho likakhongolose lika-ANC futhi eyilungu lomkhonto wesizwe le-detachment ibizwa ukuthiwa yi-Luthuli detachment, kanti futhi kube yigomanisi eliqavile. Abaholi sebekushilo okuningi ngaye, basazokusho futhi. Mhlawumbe mina ngizokhuluma ikakhulu njengocomrade nomngane. Ngaphambi kokuba kuphume igama lokuthi ubaba Mtshali uStalin wayebizwa ngokhehla, ngoba lapho bebakhona njalo nje ngisho engakhethiwe wamthola esehamba phambili hola. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi kwakuyigama lokumteketisa esondelene kakhulu nabaholi abakhulu, bemazi, bemthanda, bemthembile. Ubaba Mabhida ubethuma esehlangene naye kube sehlangene nokugcina. Unobhala wamakomanisi uthe uComrade Mtshali ube embodiment ye-alliance, kusho ukuthi ube umuntu oyi-alliance eyihambela nje. Kunento ezibalulekile-ke kulokho ukuthi ube ngumsebenzi ewu-ANC eyikomanisi. Bekungaxabani lokhu kuba kumtshali. Asikho nesodwa isikhathi lapho obukumza ukuthi manje uhlukile kulezi, ube yihlanganisa njalo. Kusho ukuthi ubekhuthaza ukubumbana phakathi kwe-alliance. Ngaba nesikhathi nalensizwa ngisemncane ngajoyina ama-trade unions, ngimfica ekhona sesebenza sevutiwe. Kwangifundisa okuningi, safunda naye futhi okuningi. Sasinethuba lokuxoxa ngezabasebenzi kabanzi, sinethuba lokuxoxa ngezentsha i-ANC, sinethuba lokuxoxa ngeze-ANC. Kwahamba saba nethuba lokuxoxa ngezamakomanisi. Indoda le ulwazi ebilumba ilufune noma lumaphi na, ubengafuni ukukhuluma ngento angayaziyo. Uma into eseyiphethe ubema ngayo, ubungeke umdukise noma ungakhuluma uthini, ube yimeli into yakhe. Ubaziwa ukuthi uma uzoxoxa naye zilungiselele. Kubasebenzi ke mokhuluma ngomtshali, ukhuluma ngomuntu kwakuthiwa umsebenzi nje. Why organizer egqugquzela abasebenzi ngayo yonke indlela ebaletha emahhovisi abasebenzi ukuthi bazofundiswa bahlonyiswe ngolwazi. Ulwazi sasilithola kubaholi abaqotho, obaba uHerry Gwala, uStephen Dlamini imkhonze kakhulu, ubaba Mabhida, babe baningi abanye abaholi nababe ngaphansi kwabo nababe kanye naye uComrade Mtshali. Wayaziwa abasebenzi, sasixoxa lezi ndaba, ayikho into esasifuna ukungayixoxi siyazi kahle singayizwa ngendaba. Ngiyentshene abasebenzi abanye sike sikhulume nje nabo ukuthi sake saxoxa udaba lokuthi abasebenzi lemali abayikhiphayo njalo ngobulungu babo kufanele ukuthi ikhishwe kanjani. Kukhona isiphakamiso esasithi akwenziwe indlela elula yokuqoqa imali, kusetshenziswe lento abayibiza ngesilungu bathi i-stop order, ngoba izokwenza ukuthi imali yonke ize emahhovisi. Sabangabanye bayiphikisa lento, sasinayo besijwayele ukubanga ndawonye masiphikisa izinto. Kwaba ingxoxo enkulu eyaxoxwa isathu imbono emibili. Kukhona abaphakamise ukuthi i-stop order isona esokwenza ukuthi sibe nemali siqhubekele phambili. Uhlabangane ethi ngeke ngenhlanhla sasinganqanye namakhehla oGwala noStephen Dlamini noMabhida ngokuthi uma abasebenzi befaka imali le abayikhokhayo njalo isuke emholweni wabo iyebhange, lapho basebenzi kusho ukuthi awubazi, abanye akwazi babone nangamehlo, nabo futhi abakwazi. Sibuzana ukuthi bazokwazi kanjani, uzoba influencer kanjani, khona mawusuthi ubizisiteleka uyabahola bakwazela. Sithi uma beze office bayakubona nawe uyababona, futhi ukwazi nokubuza ukuthi isimo sinjani emsebenzini, bakwazi bakutshene noma ungeke ukuzwe. Uyakwazi ukuba influence ukuthi bakwazi nawe bazi. Sithi ungadlala ke iqhaza lakho lokuba conscientizer, amanye amagama ubafaka umoya, ubavuthiswe, uxoxe nabo. Sayiwina leyo argument, sayivala indaba ukuthi abasebenzi bakhokhe nge-stop order. Sifuna ukubabona ngosini. Lokho kwakuhambisana nendlela entsha eyayilethe ukuthi kwakhiwe isathu ngaphansi kokuthi kwakaphiwa inyonyana ezinepolitiki ezihlukile kwezazikhona ngaphambili. okahlabangana wayekhona kulezo ngxoxo kabanzi kuxoxwa ngalokho. Iqhaza alibamba kwezi zinyonyana likhulu kakhulu, lamenza ukuthi aziwe futhi okwakukuhle-ke kwakuwukuthi la kule province sasikholelwa ekutheni uma umsebenzi kufanele ukuthi wazi ukuthi umsebenzi yini, nokuthi umsebenzi ucindezelwe, nokuthi umsebenzi kufanele ukuthi azikhulule. Sifundiswa lamakhehla into ayibiza ngokuthi labor theory. Singayengabazi uma u-organizer wazi ukuthi kufanele ukuthi uthini, kanti futhi uma ungasibomo ungangabazi ungangengizi ingakho nje uhlabangana kwathi uma esephumele ngaphandle leyo capacity yakhe ayitholela esebenza kumanyonyana waze waba umgqugquzeli ogamile. Isakhu yambona efanele ukuthi bavume ukuthi ayosebenza ku-WFTU. WFTU. Wasebenza khona iminyaka ecishe yafika eshumini. Ukubona lawo mandla benawo awathola la bamthumela ukuthi azo-organizer i-Afrika yonke ayifake kumanyonyana. Kusho ukuthi lensizwa ukusebenza kwayo nokuzimisela kwayo ukufunda nakho konke kwamenza ukuthi azithole esesebenza enhlanganweni yabasebenzi kazwelonke esaziwa izwelonke esehola kanye nabo phezulu. Kodwa bengasigqamisi lensizwa ibisebenza nje kube kuphela kwezabasebenzi. uMagalela uyibekile induku ebandla, uyaziwa nabaholi babemazi. Wakhongolose uMagalela wangena emncane wasebenza ngokuzimisela kuyisimanga, wayivolontiya esebenza engalala. Waletha ukuthenjwa kwakhongolose ngokusebenza kwakhe. Uma wawunaye wawazi ukuthi akukho ongakwenqena. Ekholelwa kuma policies ANC, ekholelwa ku freedom charter. Ngikusho lokhu ngoba sabana ikhathe eziningi kusemncane ngokungaphambili kwami. Sasike sixoxe sibanga i-freedom charter from a critical point of view. Sesingenwa ubukomanisi. Ngesinye isikhathi sibize ukuthi this is a punjwa document. Sibanga kube mnyama phansi size silungiswa abaholi. Ukuthi no, progressive document le ANC. ANC aliyona i-Communist Party. Sasixoxa enhlangothini eziningi. Ngenkathi eseyilungu leParliament sesikwazi ukuhlangana eCape Town, besike sihlale phansi sihleke sinaye. sihlele sobabili ukuthi hawu sa-compromise la akuseyona i-freedom charter. Ngithi usho ngani athi iphi nationalization? Ngithi hayi phela sa-negotiate ube clear, kodwa sasikwenza konke lokho ngediscipline and si-defend i-freedom charter, sizimisele ukuyidefenda ngisho ngey'mpilo zethu because we believe in it. We understood ukuthi esinye isitebhisi lesi esasiya kulokho esasikholelwa kukho sesinamakomanisi. Baziwa Mtshali ngama views akho, uma ine-view, uma ingekho isidingo sokuthi akhulume ngakhulumi, kodwa uma sikhona umdala umusha ngeke akuyeke. Lensizwa ibiyithanda imfundo yepolitiki, ithanda nemfundo in general. Kunenduka ayibekile bandla wokufundisa abantu ngenkathi sengaphandle nalapha noma imaphi lapha behamba khona ubethenga amabhuku azonikeza amanye ama-comrade, amabhuku anolwazi, bebefananise nobaba Mabhili ngokuthenga incwadi ubezifunda futhi. Kubasebenzi uyibekile induku ebandla, ku-ANC uyibekile induku ebandla, a believer in the freedom charter, but yayingamconfuse leyo nto kuma objectives e-Communist Party. Sasa zikazi ukuthi kunomehluko phakathi kwe-nationalization under a national democratic government and socialization kuma socialism. Why never confused? Why very clear? Kwajona umkhonto ngenkathi i-ANC ithatha isinqumo sokuthatha ikhaya. Ingakho nje simbiza ngesinye isikhathi ukuthi ucommander, commissar. But we could always add ukuthi he was indeed a confidant of many. Kuhlabangane kube into yonke ebesifisa ukuba yiyo. Ngenkathi kwakumkhonto kwakufuneka abantu abaqotho, amalunga aqothe e-ANC, kuqiniswa kakhulu kulabo abebengamavolontiya. Waba ngomunye wokuqala kulesifundazwe, waba kuyi-command. Ngemva kwalokho waphuma kumela ngaphandle. Awu mfoka Hlabangana madoda, ngiyabazi abantu bakaMtshali banenkani umthetho wabo, hayi ukuthi kuyena yedwa oMantshini. Kwafika umyalezo uphuma eTanzania esephumile, kucelwa ubaba uStephen Dlamini ukuthi akasize athumele instruction kubaba Mtshali, ngoba kwathi wakufanele ukuthi bayothola i-training yokuqala e-Ethiopia. Mtshali egcwele i-Marxism ithe swi, kwathi hayi ngiyaxolisa ngeke ngiyotrayina mina ezweni lemonarch, ngiyotrayina kuphela uma kuyirashiwe. Kwabaxaka kwaze bathola ukuthi umuntu ongamthambisa uStephen Dlamini, kwathunyelwa imessage ngaphandle kubaba Dlamini ukuthi awuthumela imessage ukuthi ayivuma le nto akuzukususa ubukomanisi insizwa ke le engenandaba noma uthambo sebelishona nje ngoba ibelieve ukuthi yini ngiyele ngingaya ngala kodwa wahamba masenikezwa instruction ukuthi hamba ngizama ukusho ukuthi ube nesiphindo ukusithatha i-decision noma ngabe ubani na ababekhona ngo-1985 eKabe conference kokhumbula kwabakhona i-debate enkulu ngoba i-National Executive Committee ye-ANC yayingenawo abantu who were not African labo kuthiwa ama-minorities ayingekho kwakufuneka ukuthi kuthathe isinqumo ukuthi abavulelwe nabo bangene because that was in keeping with our policy kwakukhona kodwa abanye ababethi no kwabakhona i-combination yey'nsizwa ezimbili ezazana zincane ubaba Mtshali nobaba uPhungule esimazweni ukuthi past 4 babe bambalwa abantu abasukuma balwa ukuthi ayenzeke lonto sikwazi ukushintsha ipolicy le ngaphandle ipolicy yenziwa la ekhaya asilinde sesibuyele ekhaya ukhumbula kahle umfoka amantshinga amadoda wagqoka kwamnyama wa-challenge i-conference yonke uPass 4 yena wasukuma wafuna mina ngizomtolikela kwathi angizomtela ngoba mtolikela kahle abafana wangibiza uPass 4 wathi uma sekhuluma wathi wethama wangabe sathi ukuthi we-president wethama napho kumele ngizoshintsha ipolicy la ngaphandle lela ngathi mina ngizoyitolika ngithini le ngoba uyangixaka nganwayini watolika Zuma tolika basuka kude uPass 4 nobaba Mtshali babe youth la inkani zabo zombili zifana amadiyengito ngikhuluma njengomngane njengomcomrade bekaxake ngesinye isikhathi just like Pass 4 kwangixaka ngelinye ilanga engithuma ethi ngoba isingisa ngisazi ngiphelezele ngiyobona islovo awukwenzele njani noma safuna ukumtshena ukuthi mina ngangiqashwa ngixoshwe emsebenzini abelungu ekhaya lasicindezelo khona ngangazi ukuthi nalapha kade ngizoqashwa ngicindezelo umlungu wa-ANC funa ukumtshena kahle impela awungamncane amadoda laze ngamadolo phansi uzothini uslovo bobabili nje uma behlangene nakuxoxela ezinye izinto engengiyixoxobayo ngamanye amazwi ubaba Mtshali lapho asebenze khona ushiye amamarks akhe noma ngabe i-MK noma ngabe abasebenzi kwi-MK watraina waqeda wathinya njengoba nizwile wagcina esekhishwe inkambini elikezwe imisebenzi ethile njengoba nizwile ukuthi waba ngumsunguli wephepha le-MK lokuqala ngqa wagcina esenikezwe umsebenzi wokumela umbutho eTanzania ngenkathi sengibuya ejele sengiphumela ngaphandle ngamfica khona umngane wami madoda sengizosho kubani ukuthi kumnandi kwelakithi emnambithi kusukela elisaka besibingelelana kanjalo naye masihlangana nje singathi ukuthi sawubona okanye hayi besithi kumnandi kwelakithi emnambithi ngoba sazelana sithembana ngokugcwele kodwa ke angaqhubi into eyiningi ngifisa ukuthi ngigcine ngomuntu wakhe lo kwamakomanisi ngoba ube ikomanisi eligcwelisiwe elingekho hafu kube indoda eyazi lento kuthiwa iMarxism obeyifunda ngiyafisa ukugcina la ngoba singcwaba ikomanisi namhlanje komanisi langempela ubaba Mtshali ngiyofisa ukuthi ngikwetize kancane ngoba ngifisa namakomanisi azwisise ngoba mhlawumbe ngizosho izinto ezisafuna i-debate baba njengoba ngithe inhlangano lezibethu zona zonke ku-MK wathatha i-oath i-serious kabi i-oath ye-MK eleya down i-policy ye-MK nokuthi uziphatha kanjani kwa-ANC bebeliever kwi-freedom charter emakomanisini bebeliever kwi-communist manifesto. Communist manifesto kulapha amakomanisi athatha isinqumo khona ukuthi bamemeze bashizwe lokho ukuthi i-policies abathini bacabangani ngezwe. Ngizothatha nje into ezincane ezashiwo Frederick Engels in explaining that there are elements that capture the fundamental proposition and nucleus of the Communist Manifesto. Engels explains that he considers himself bound to state that this fundamental proposition belongs to Karl Marx. He then goes on to say what this fundamental proposition is. And I'm saying this because Stalin believed in these propositions, and the communists in particular should believe in these. We should hear these more. I just want to highlight a few of them. The first element is that the organization of society necessarily flows from the mode of economic production and exchange. In other words, communists analyze the world from some specific principles. They don't just stand up and say anything. As communists, you would know that the following modes of production can generally be identified. The primitive communism or communal society, slavery, feudalism and serfdom, capitalism and imperialism, and socialism and communism. The second element is that the economic mode of production and exchange is the only basis upon which the political and intellectual history of the epoch is built and can be explained. The third element is that the whole history of mankind is a history of class struggle. The first chapter of the Communist Manifesto begins with the following words, and I quote, "The history of all hitherto exist in society is a history of class struggle." Close quote. Engels notes that this refers to the history after the dissolution of the primitive tribal society where land is held in common ownership. The fourth element is that the class struggles are contests between the exploiting and the ruling class on the one hand, and the exploited and oppressed classes on the other side. The fifth element is that the history of class struggles forms a series of evolutions, each ending with the existing mode of production and exchange being succeeded by another. The text of the Communist Manifesto uses the phrase "a series of revolutions." The last element is that the capitalist mode of production and exchange is the stage in which the exploited class, the proletariat, cannot emancipate itself from the control of the exploiting and ruling class, the bourgeoisie, without at the same time emancipating all of society from exploitation, oppression, class distinctions, and class struggles once and for all. Other political parties hold a view that is diametrically opposed to that of the communists, as captured in the sixth element in what Engels calls the fundamental proposition and nucleus of the Communist Manifesto. Communists champion the interests of the proletariat, the exploited and oppressed class, which is the largest class in society today. Other political parties champion the interests of the bourgeoisie, which is the dominant and ruling class in capital society, to varying degrees. Some of these parties champion the interests of the post-colonial and highly dependent indigenous bourgeoisie and petty bourgeoisie. For historical reasons, the core of the bourgeoisie in South Africa derives from the old white colonial establishment. The bourgeoisie of indigenous stock, insofar as it exists, is a product of the advent of democracy in 1994 and the black economic empowerment policies of the ruling part, the African National Congress. The black middle class has also grown fourfold since 1994, according to some statistics. I want to draw attention also to the fact that most of the white population falls within the middle class. They are in between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. Indeed, it is for the above fact that a section of the black middle class is drawn closer to the white liberal establishment for political reasons. Sidila nathi analyze the current situation into some details. Iyafuna to analyze so that we know where we are. Siwazi ukuthi lo mkhumbi ushiftela ngaphi njengokuhamba nje phakathi olwandle. Is it going to the coast or deeper in the sea? The interests of the middle class coincide across race in the same way as the interests of the bourgeoisie do. The small and medium-sized business owners across race can also be described as part of the middle class in political outlook. I also wanted to draw attention to the fact that there is a growing commonality in interests across race among the proletariat, especially in what, in communist terms, would be referred to as the labor aristocracy. This can be seen in the increasingly mixed membership of the Public Servants Association and closer cooperation between predominantly white and predominantly black trade unions in the mining and other sectors. It certainly remains true that the strategic interests of the black people from all classes can only be best served by the triumph of the National Democratic Revolution. This also explains the fact that there will be no exodus to political parties that champion racial and narrow nationalist aspirations. It is useful at this point to highlight how the views of communists would contrast to those of other parties in relation to political and topical issues. In the country today, I shall cite just 4 areas. The first is the issue of land expropriation without compensation. It will be noted that this is part of the broader issue of land ownership. Communists would be inclined to the view that land ownership patterns should be such that ownership of land does not remain a basis for the exploitation of the working class. This should be reflected in the mix of land tenure as it pertains to collective state ownership, communal land ownership, and private land ownership, that is individual, cooperative, and corporates. Members of the Communist Party should engage on this and put forward their views on the matter. This, no doubt, will be different from that of other political parties. In other words, what is our Marxist view on the debate that is ongoing now from the communists? The second issue pertains to the attitude of communists towards private capital, especially monopolistic kind of capital. The ANC in its strategy and tactics, puts the matter in the following terms, and I quote, "The approach of the liberation movement to private capital, including monopoly capital, is informed by our understanding of the National Democratic Society as a system that encourages competition, promotes sustainable labor-absorbing activity, discourages rent-seeking in the form of super profits arising from monopoly control and other self-advantages, and so on." Following from the fundamental proposition of the Communist Manifesto, there is little prospect of unity between the proletariat and the bourgeoisie. Their interests are essentially antagonistic. The third issue relates to the attitude of communists towards the national democratic state. First, it is necessary to indicate that communists have a qualified attitude towards towards any form of state. For communists, the state is essentially an instrument of suppression of one class by another. And state, in the bourgeois state, suppression serves the interests of the bourgeoisie. The dictatorship of the proletariat is also regarded as an instrument of suppression. Only this time it is in the interest of the majority, the proletariat, and it is the bourgeoisie that is the object of suppression by the workers. The workers are not shy to say it is a dictatorship of the proletariat against the bourgeoisie. Our national democratic state is being put from the ruins of the colonial and apartheid state. The point of departure has been that the national democratic revolution can build a national democratic society which has a strong bias in favor of the working class and the poor. It is a matter of debate whether this belief has been borne out by the experience of the last 25 years. Be that as it may, the role of communists is to strengthen that bias as much as practical at any given time in the struggle for socialism. Communists do more than make their voices heard when it appears as if the democratic state is developing to be no more than an executive committee of capital, an instrument for the suppression of the proletariat. The last issue I wish to broach is that of the application of the communist principles in the national democratic revolution. The strategic goal of the communist movement is to emancipate society at large from all exploitation, oppression, class distinctions, and class struggles. At the stage of socialism, the applicable principle is for all to contribute, each coordinating to their ability and to each according to work performed. In the stage of communism, the central principle is from each according to his or her ability, to each according to his or her needs. It follows from the above that communists want to build the necessary capacity for the communist movement to exercise the leadership of all revolutionary forces. The historical alliance of the African National Congress, the party, COSATU, and the South African National Civil Society is built precisely around this strategic orientation. Communists at all times make their position that is based on scientific analysis clear to the working class and the other progressive forces. They do this with the aim of leading the broadest movement within the working class at the forefront to build a proletariat state as a necessary instrument for building a classless society. As I conclude, let me say what I see as the task of the communists. The above discussions suggest that the task of the communists include the following of the minimum. Firstly, communists will study and understand the theory of scientific socialism. They will be vigilant against the manipulation of communist principles on the issue of factionalism, etc. Secondly, they will strengthen and unite their own organization and strengthen allied formations, especially progressive working class organizations. And thirdly, they will propagate socialist ideas to the broadest section of other people and strive to influence them to adopt socialism as representing their best interests. In this way, communists will earn the confidence and trust of their peers and society at large as the best champions of a truly free and peaceful world. I trust that communists who have been together with Comrade Mtshali will take his place in the front trenches in the struggle to build a bright future for all in our country, the African continent, and indeed the world. I've taken your time, directors of the program, partly because Comrade Mtshali shared these ideas. We had occasions to discuss about them, and I would not want them to be forgotten. And for me to say goodbye Comrade Mtshali, it is proper that I say this to those who love him and to those who are saying, let us pick up the spear. We should know what spear are we picking up that has fallen. What to do with the spear. Socialism is still a distance away. We need to do more to shorten the distance between ourselves and socialism. And it is comrades who believe in Mtshali who must say, let us be more vocal about the need to establish socialism in this country as quickly as possible so that we can deal once and for all with the problems that face the majority of our people. Kubaba uhlabangana ngifuna ukuthi wenzile umsebenzi wakho, usifundisile, usiholile, usebenzile ey'gabeni ezahlukahlukene. Siyabonga Hlabangane ukuthi kuyiqhawe lamaqhawe. Uyosala njalo emlandweni wabasebenzi, emlandweni wama-social wenkululeko, emlandweni we-ANC, emlandweni wamakomanisi. Ukhona ngaso sonke isikhathi. Hamba kahle qhawe lamaqhawe. Mndeni wakamtshali anisele nodwa, nisele kanye nathi. Nokushiwa ileli qhawe sikhala kanye nani, sishiye kanye nani. Bekuyinsizwa le phakathi kweyinsizwa, kuyinto yonke ekhona, kuwumholi oqotho. Sithi nani lalani nenxeba njengoba nani silele kanye nenxeba. Angithembe ukuthi la kwaMtshali kungase kuphume abanye boMtshali abangasiza ukuba sikhululeke ngokupheleleyo ngoba siyaphelele. Amandla awethu mahla eruna, all power, all power. Siyabonga.
Thank you very much to former President Zuma. That was a tribute from a lifelong friend and comrade. We have heard now that we are celebrating and saying farewell, bidding farewell to a community activist, an internationalist, a worker leader, a people's representative as a councillor and a member of parliament, a leader of the alliance, a communist whose beliefs in Marxism and Leninism were unshakable, a revolutionary, a commander and a commissar of the People's Army, political instructor, a role model. The African National Congress has lost, the South African Communist Party has lost, COSATU and SACP have lost. We now want to say to all of us, as much as we have lost and we feel the pain, none of us feels the pain more than the family. I would therefore like to invite on stage Ms. Lindy Mtshali, his daughter, to come and pay a tribute as we say bid farewell to her father. And soon thereafter will be a tribute from Mama Unile Mtshali, who will also be paying tribute to her beloved husband. Sabonani. Once he's coming up, let me just indicate that one of the long-time friends, comrades, who has worked with Mtshali is the former Treasurer General Mtshali, who has asked us to convey his deepest condolences to the family. He is in hospital. He's not able to join us, but he also has said, may the family be comforted by knowing that he also and his family are with the family, Mtshali family, during this time of grief. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I greet you all in the name of Jesus, and I'm here on behalf of Mtshali as your cousin Umasongi Mkhize reading a tribute to her dad. To many of you, he was Stalin the comrade. To me, he was Pa, first, then a friend and a comrade. To him, I was Mtshali. Pa hated patriarchy and from exile exercised his family responsibilities by playing an active role within his family despite his organizational responsibilities. I recall that whilst my late mom was in Togo, we never felt the absence of SPA ensured the family home was well kept. This replicated itself at one point. At home, he was like any other ordinary father. Ours was a political home, and I thought this was what normal families were. It only dawned on me in grade 12 when my history teacher, during lesson, excitedly asked if he was my dad and he could come and give us a lecture. After the lecture, I was so proud of my father's role in the liberation struggle. That had a way of making me feel important. I remember during my young age and when making him pancakes, he would savor them like they were the best thing in the world. He loved playing jazz, and gardening was a sanctuary. Apart from the SACP, his brand was the pipe and the linen cap. Kungakho eClermont ebaziwa njengomkhulu wenqawa. If there is one main lesson I will take and honor him with, is the importance of patriotism to one's country. I owe my political consciousness and activism to him, and I undertake to continue with that fight. He was committed to the SACP until his death. Even when his health was not good, he would ensure that he lived up to his duties. A case in point is his attendance of the 14th National Congress just after being discharged from hospital. Despite our reservations, he insisted on attending. Mamncane and I threatened with grave consequences if we insisted that he should not attend. And true to the form, he won the fight through his stubbornness. He would continuously tell us that we would never stop him from party work. We thank the party for accommodating and being patient with him despite his physical health and challenges in later life. My father abhorred materialism and extravagance at home and in public life. He attributed these as being the main cause of corruption. Ever being the disciplined cadre, was content on protecting the SACP, ANC, his legacy, family, and serving the people of South Africa. During our discussions, especially of late, he was at pains about the current state of the political affairs. Finally, I am grateful that he managed in his retirement to live his greatest aspiration of plowing back to the community of Claremont and especially the development of its youth. I am thankful that Mamncane and I were by his side during his last days and his hour of death. May I take this opportunity to thank the government of RSA and its people for its supporting the family. In addition, his family, the SACP, and its alliance partners for using this day to unite. Mamncane, thank you so much for the love you have shown to Pa and providing him with the companionship and support in his last years of life. For this, I am eternally grateful. to my brother, Anele, Bega, Sizwe, and all others and comrades, thank you for all that you did for Baba in his time of need. Finally, thank you to Sister and my family for their support. Thank you.
Siyabonga kakhulu umyalezo ovela kundodakazi kaBaba Mtshali. Thank you very much, comrades. May we at this point invite Miss Amanda Kunene, who will come and deliver the tribute for Mama Dunile Kunene Mtshali.
Good morning to everyone gathered here this morning. All protocol observed. I've been asked by my mother, Mtshali, to come up and express her last words of gratitude, appreciation, and love to Baba. But before I do that, I would like to share with you all a brief story that will give you a glimpse into the kind of husband Baba was to my mother. Because since his passing, we have heard many of you share stories about how Baba was as a father, fellow comrade, how he was as a teacher, a disciplinarian, and a true icon of the liberation movement. But what I want to share with you is the story of Mtshali, the husband and family man. I remember in the early stages when Baba and Uma got married. Baba and I were in the dining room laughing and joking about how feisty my mother can be. To always speak her mind without any apologies, much like Baba. But in the midst of our laughter, Baba looked up at me while fixing his pipe and said, I want her to always feel free to speak her mind. To be who she is. I looked at Baba and smiled, because in that moment, I knew that Uma had found her true love. Baba loved and cherished Uma for who she is and never tried to change her. And so today, we all grieve Baba and remember the various ways that he touched our lives. But today, Uma isn't just grieving the loss of her husband. She grieves the loss of her best friend and most importantly, her king. Baba, I want to say to you, thank you, because the love and respect that I witnessed between you and Uma is one that we only get to witness once in a lifetime between two people. And I was fortunate enough to witness it for the 16 years that you were together. And now I revert to Uma's tribute to Baba. I want you to know that I will miss the quality time we spent together. I will miss hearing the sound of your slippers as we slid down the passage from the bedroom in order to watch the 7 p.m. news. I will miss being disciplined by you. But even with that discipline, we always managed to smile and move on as if nothing ever happened. We lived, loved, and respected each other for the last 16 years. You were my protector, my lover, my husband, and of course, a very good friend. With you, I could say anything, anytime, and anyhow. And in doing so, you would often look to the kids, smile, shake your head, and say, though in your last days, you were frail and weak, you would still wait for me to return from work. And every time you saw me, you would smile and say, Gunawam, my Omega. I will miss those Sunday mornings where I would wake up to you playing jazz, and I would say, what boring music. And you would say, what is Indauzazi? This is soft music, and you, baby. To you, Lindiwe, I know you have lost a father, but rest assured, we are together in this. To Amanda and Anele, thank you for loving and respecting Baba till the end. Lala Tula Kabangani, Makalele Kahasan Jenny Bunyam, Kon, I will always miss the times you called me my person, my things, until we meet again, my person, thank you.
Thank you very much. That was Mama Mtshali Mtshali. Thank you very much for that tribute. We would like to invite the Black Mambazo to come forward and give us one song to pay tribute to Baba Mtshali. Please come forward, Mambazo, Black Mambazo. Thank you very much. It does appear that was a very popular greeting. Can we then, at this point, proceed, comrades, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow members? This is a special funeral, special official funeral service for Comrade Stalin Mtshali, declared by the President, and at this point, representing the Presidency to deliver the eulogy will be the Minister in the Presidency responsible for performance monitoring and evaluation. May we therefore invite at this point Minister Dr. Dlamini-Zuma to deliver the eulogy.
Thank you, program directors, the former President, His Excellency Jacob Zuma, the Secretary General of the SACP, Mr. Dlamini-Zuma, the ministers here, Chairperson of the NCOP, the Premier, Ubabu Makingwane, members of Parliament, the SG of COSATU and other members, MECs, chiefs and members of the National Defense Force, leaders of the Alliance, leaders of political parties, mayors and councillors, the Secretary General of the World Federation of Trade Unions, members of the media, fellow mourners. We're gathered here today to bid our final farewell to a giant of our struggle, the man of steel, Comrade Eric Stalin Mtshali. His obituary has been read, and it bears testimony to the fact that the history of our liberation struggle has been punctuated by his contributions for over the past 6 decades. Sadly, as we celebrate his life, we are reminded of what the Malian writer Amadou once said: in Africa, when an old man dies, a library bends to the ground. Close quote. Indeed, Comrade Stalin was a reservoir of knowledge and wisdom. Our meetings, conferences, and campaigns will never be the same. We will miss that distinct touch only Comrade Stalin will bring to any conversation, engagement, or initiative. Indeed, a giant has fallen. To paraphrase, thanks, self-doing tributes to Mazuri, he said, another baobab rooted in the principles and values of our glorious movement has been felled and the ground has been shaken. We walk tall and proud to be African, despite his unexpected departure, for we know that we now stand on his and other heroes and heroines of our struggle. Through his life journey, we are able to see the road we have traversed and are able to let future generations to also learn and stand tall and proud to be African. Comrade Stalin was born during the year in which 280,000 white South Africans decided the fate and future of over 30 million blacks, and mainly Africans. As a result of the 1933 general elections, incidentally, 1933 was the first year in which white women fully participated in the election after having received their franchise 3 years earlier. Comrade Stalin came into an unjust and unequal world. This is the world which required an early activism of him. It shaped and tempered him, into a disciplined and humble man of steel. Fellow mourners, comrades, standing societal mobilization and total emancipation of our people was the raison d'etre for our liberation struggle. This, as we have heard, motivated Comrade Stalin to be politically conscious and active early in his life by initially taking up various roles in the Claremont Ratepayers Association. From an early age, Comrade Stalin understood that the liberation of our people lies only in their hands and would require strong organization to propel them into power and command of their destinies. Thus, the Claremont Ratepayers Association became an important mobilization frontier for the African National Congress, as it became a solid recruitment base for our movement's volunteers. He was also an active international trade unionist who cut his teeth at organizing for the Dock and Harbour Workers Union in Durban. He understood the imperative of international solidarity to unite the workers of the world in order to advance workers' struggle beyond national, cultural, and racial boundaries. From this vantage point, Comrade Stalin shaped his thinking and desire to pursue a society wherein he dreamt and fought for a world wherein all the means of production, including land, belong to and are commanded by the people. It was during this time that his lifelong service to the Communist Party was born. Comrade Stalin was a well-rounded activist who was one of the few who was involved in all facets and pillars of our alliance and national democratic revolution. He had been a member of the Central Committee of the party since the early 70s, serving the party selflessly for some 6 decades. There was no task too small, and there was no task too huge for Comrade Stalin. We have heard how he became one of the first volunteers of Umkhonto and his willingness to possibly pay the ultimate price for his belief and convictions. We have heard of his involvement in many battles of our glorious People's Army, including his bestowed the great and historic honor by Comrade President O.R. to assist the Butuku detachment, which was the first ever detachment of the MP. That detachment had undergone rigorous training and had the task of regenerating the damaged underground structures which had been destroyed in the aftermath of the death of Comrade President General Albert Butuku. Comrade Stalin belongs to all of us in South Africa and in the world. On account of having served the South African Congress of Trade Unions, SACP, and also the World Federation of Trade Unions, as well as chief representative of the ANC. He stood as to all true Marxists. He understood as all true Marxists that the disorganization of the working class is one of the fundamental causes to their exploitation. Thus, the call for the international workers of the world to unite. He also understood that in such interests of the working class of the world were similar. Those on our continent had special dimensions on account of the type of dispossession and colonization of our people have suffered. Thus, his focus moved on mobilization and strengthening trade unions in Ethiopia, Sudan, Zambia, Tanzania, Morocco, amongst many others. Fellow members, Comrade Stalin, also an internationalist, and he internalized what Vladimir Lenin meant when he said, I quote, "Without a revolutionary theory, there cannot be a revolutionary movement," close quote. Thus, his pursuit for knowledge and his willingness to impart it to younger generations, his willingness to learn and teach, made him the lifetime member of UFASIN, the Young Communist Many a communicator and media activist tells of how Comrade Stalin took his time to hone in their skills. He mastered the ability to balance both the military training as an accomplished cadre of MK and the ethos of the pen is mightier than the sword. In living this ethos, Comrade Stalin became the editor of the MKs, the Dawn, and the subject journal known as the Workers' Unit, amongst many other publications. Comrade Stalin was an avid reader and had great passion for our history as well as ideology. We must honor that passion. We must find ways to document our history and develop our own authentic African ideologies and solutions in his honor. Ever the pragmatism, even if he served in public office and in the benches of local and national legislatures, he was ever ready to teach and remind us of the historic and current mission of the National Democratic Revolution. The task of shaping our national democratic society greatly benefited from his legal enthusiasm and wisdom. He was consistent in reminding us that the task of mobilizing progressive motive forces towards a just and equal society is an objective. Fellow mourners, Comrade Stalin was a true revolutionary who was driven by a deep sense of love for his family, his people, and his country. Indeed, for humanity. In the words of one of my favorite revolutionaries, Che Guevara, who once said, I quote, "The true revolutionary is guided by a great feeling of love. It is impossible to think of a genuine revolutionary lacking this quality." It is this revolutionary love for our people which should guide us, and not the advent of greed and money which seeks to serve self and destroy or kill our people. If we live by the ethos by which Comrade Stalin lived by, we would surely leave behind a far better world than the one Comrade Stalin and his comrades bequeathed us. Comrade Stalin was also an important feature and choir master as we put together the symphony and basket of services to improve the quality of life of our people. Humor and an effective tool in the hands of Comrade Stalin and his daily guiding hand was an important feature as we took the implementation of our resolutions to improve the social wage through housing, school feeding schemes, access to free health care, free basic electricity, social grants, and expanding infrastructure to the rural areas and townships. Ever on the side of principle and firm in his belief, it was always near impossible to sway him in the wrong way. And where one found oneself in the unfortunate position of being opposite to his position, he was ever ready to educate you on his position and belief. Comrade Stalin's presence was consistent, and we firmed up our resolve to further grow our economy, to create jobs, as well as when we placed more focused attention to small business development, black economic empowerment, and the growing middle class. Ever ready with sharp class analysis, we often did not always fully appreciate his deep analysis. At least in living, he did witness some of our appreciation of his contributions, as we did as the Communist Party offered him the SACP Moses Kotane Award and labeling him to be a lifelong member of the Central Committee of the SACP. Even as we bestowed the Order of Mendi for bravery in silver to him, he remained embarrassed and humble, making it a point that we understand that this was done as a collective. He didn't do it alone, but also in service and for the love of the people. Fellow mourners, the baobab has indeed fallen to and the ground is shaking. Comrade Stalin was a humble reservoir of knowledge of the struggle of our people and practical solutions of the challenges they confront. Living by the mantra of unity, he was deeply disturbed by the advent of factionalism in our glorious movement. Being the embodiment of our alliance, having served in the civic and labor movements as well as SACP and ANC, Comrade Stalin was also disturbed by the disunity he recently witnessed in the alliance. It is now upon us to pick up the spear and continue with the revitalization of our movement so that we may be united in action towards securing a better quality of life for our people. We owe it to his memory, we owe it to his dedication, we owe him a united and stronger organization in our country. Lala Ngokolo, Commissioner in Command, go on and take your deserved place amongst our guiding stars. Tell Mama Charlotte Matlege, Mama Dorothy Nyembe, Mama Towa, Masisulu, Winnie Mandela, that the league stands strong and fully donned in the black, green, and at the forefront of our struggles for gender equality and in the fight against gender-based violence. Tell them that they remain determined to bring victory to the masses of our people as they secure a better life. Let Comrade Anthony Dembete, Tata Madiba, Coast Albert Mtshali know that the youth of our country are determined to pursue knowledge and that as they regather, they remain strong in the pursuit for economic liberation and empowerment of our people and to get land for our people. Report to Comrade September, Mama Shilini, Ray Alexander, Moses Kodane, Moses Mabida, Chris Hani, Joe Slovo, and Joko Momo, that the Alliance is rediscovering its harmony, and through the People's Manifesto for 2019, it is developing an implementable and workable program of action. The plan promises to strengthen accountability and delivery to our people so that we might assert the people's governance as envisaged in the Freedom Charter. Arising to take your seat amongst the galaxy of our heroes and heroines of struggle, raise your red as well as the black, green, and gold flags. Sing your favorite anthem, the Internationale, and let the summit know that the alliance is stronger and the workers of our continent and the world are working harder to unite and to defeat imperialism as an injustice in the world. Sister Nini and the Mtshali family, we say, Amehlanga Nimehlanga. Lalani ngenxeba, sikhala nani, but siyabonga kakhulu ukuthi ubaba uMtshali limphathe kahle namsupporta kwaze kwaba sekugcineni. Siyabonga kakhulu ukuthi nisiphathele kahle eqhaweni lethu kwaze kwaba sekugcineni. Malindi no-Amanda nabazukulu olele lapha isosha, olele lapha iqhawe, olele lapha ubaba wenu, ukhulu wenu esiziqhenyayo kakhulu sonke ngathi nomhlaba wonke oziqhenyayo njengoba nizimile nalokhu neGreece
uzojombela ngale lelo uzoqashisa ngaphansi kwekhapethi
lokho ukuthi umhlaba wonke usebenzele, umhlaba wonke uyamhlonipha. Siyathemba ukuthi lokho kuzoduduza, kuzoduduza nazi ukuthi benzalwa iqhawe. Nani niqhubeke nifise ukuthi nibe amaqhawe nimlandele. uComrade Stalin lala ngoxolo mkhondo, lala ngoxolo ngoxolo khomanda. lana ngoxolo uyifezile indima yakho. May your revolutionary spirit continue to guide us as we go towards the 2014 election and as we endeavor to serve our people better and create a better life for all. Long live the spirit of Comrade Stalin, long live. Long live the undying spirit of Comrade Stalin, long live.
Amandla! 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 Viva ANC, viva! Viva procession, viva! Viva South African Communist Party, viva! Viva SACP, viva! Long live the spirit of Comrade Stalin, long live! Ateteshi Omakerela, Ateteshi Omakomandis, Ateteshi Omakerela, Ateteshi Omakomandis, Hiyotwa, Hiyotwa. Oh, Hiyotwa, 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 socialism. Hateteshi Omakerela, Hateteshi Omakomandis, Hateteshi Omakerela, Hateteshi Omakomandis, Hiyotwa, 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 socialism. Hiyotwa, 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 socialism. Hateteshi Omakerela, Hateteshi Omakomandis, Hateteshi Omakerela, Hateteshi Omakomandis, Hiyotwa, Hiyotwa. Hiyotwa, 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 socialism. Hiyotwa, 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 socialism. Hateteshi Omakerela, Hateteshi Omakomandis, Hateteshi Omakerela, Hateteshi Omakomandis. Hiyotwa, 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 socialism. Hiyotwa, 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 socialism. Hateteshi Omakerela, Hateteshi Omakomandis, Hateteshi Omakerela, Hateteshi Omakomandis. Hiyotwa, 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 socialism. Hiyotwa, 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 socialism. Hateteshi Omakerela, Hateteshi Omakomandis, Hateteshi Omakerela, Hateteshi Omakomandis. Hiyotwa, 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 socialism. Hiyotwa, 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 socialism. Amanda! 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 Viva the African Communist Viva! Viva South African Communist Party, viva! Viva COSATU, viva! Viva SACP, viva! Long live the spirit of Comrade Stalin, long live! Long live the spirit of Comrade Stalin, long live! Long live the spirit of Comrade Stalin, long live! Amanda! Emazweni! 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 Freedom Charter! Freedom Charter! Freedom May we take this opportunity to thank the family for allowing us to be part of this special send-off. Siyabonga, bohle bamali. Siyabonga bokumangalela kasasele ngonyama. Sizovala iziqhawe. Sithamba kahle hlabangani. Hamba kahle commander. Hamba kahle commissar. At this point, we would like to make some announcements. We want to thank you all who have come in your numbers, from the speakers who have paid tribute to our hero. We want to say thank you. The leadership of government, the leadership of the alliance, the leadership of the South African National Defence Force, the leadership of the various formations of our alliance structures at different levels. Siyabonga nina nonke. Sifisa futhi ukuthi sicela ukuthi masuka lapha indawo siya kuyo incane. Sicela bekwemhlezi lapho uhlale nilinde lapho.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So bahona sibabeke lapha ngamasuthi noma sibase kwindawo okuse Clermont Community Hall. We want you to know that when we get to the end of this part, this is a special official funeral service which is conducted through the military honors. At which point none of us have got any rights to be standing in between to disturb the program. So what do they say to one make this announcement that the family...
Well, thanks very much, Blaine. Of course, as you said, there a moving tribute by Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma to a dear comrade and a friend, describing the now man of steel, as he has been known, Baba Eric Stalin Mtshali, a true revolutionary, a true communist, a mentor, a strong critic, a selfless a comrade, a selfless cadre of the SACP and of the ANC, a man who spent his entire life fighting for the liberation of this country. And even after those dark days, he continued to serve. He served in the National Parliament. And thereafter, once he retired, he came back to Clermont and to Durban, where he was born, and he continued to serve the people of Clermont, to serve the people of KwaZulu-Natal. And throughout the week, three things that I think have been quite important that have come out about Stalin has been the fact that he was a humble man, and this is one of the characteristics or characters that in fact Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma said that if the leaders of today and the youth of today, if there's anything of everything that they could have learned from him, is that they take away the humility, that he was a humble leader who wanted to serve the people. It was never about himself, it was never about shining, it was always about being humble and putting forth the people of this country. And today indeed you see by him having been honored with a special funeral by the people who have come out here today, what an incredible man is being laid to rest here today. Of course, now joining me is the second Deputy General Secretary of the SACP, Mr. Chris Mtshali. What a moving tribute from the people who've come out here today to bid farewell. I read earlier on during the week one person saying the mahogany tree has fallen.
Indeed, Ayanda. I mean, you see, the majority of the people who came here are also ordinary people. And that's the character of Comrade Eric Stalin. He was a simple man, but also very complex and very dynamic. He was able to intertwine local struggles, national struggles, but also with an international tendency in them. And that describes the man. It's important to, as you were pointing out, that there are important lessons that we need to take from his life. The humility, the way in which he dealt with people across the board, whether it was in parliament where he was meeting ministers and others, whether it was as a ward councillor where he was meeting ordinary people. And those lessons are important for us to be able to make our democracy meaningful and therefore embrace the entirety of our people.
Many also said that he was a mentor through the memorial service that was held on Friday, the week when the mourners came in their numbers to pay their respects to the family, people sharing their stories of the lessons that they learned from him.
One young man shared a story with me about his engagement with Eric Stalin Mtshali. He said what he did was a very important contribution in his life. He introduced him to a bookstore in Florida Road, and that man has never left that bookstore. In fact, he has more books than I can lay hands on, and that is a contribution that he makes. You know, not too glamorous, not too up there, but an important contribution to human values, to ethos, to virtue, to things that are important in a struggle as complex and complicated as ours, to undo racial segregation, which is an attitude, which is a mentality. It's important to overcome those things, but also not to get rooted in the past, for us to make the bridge between what was the past, move forward, and build a new South Africa around the very important principles of the Freedom Charter, non-racialism, non-sexism, and democracy.
Humble, a mentor, but I also understand, and I know personally you probably would have known this, as a leader, he is said to have been a strong critic. He wanted things to be done properly, he wanted people to lead in a particular way, and he was not shy of calling people in and reining them in when he felt that they were not doing what they're supposed to.
And I guess that's how he got the name Stalin. You know, in reference to Joseph Stalin of the former Soviet Union. He was a disciplinarian. He believed that it was important to do things in a particular way. Importantly, I mean, he agreed with the party discipline, its procedures and processes. But he also understood that you are acting within the context of the National Liberation Movement, that you have to bring your best as a communist wherever you are deployed, in the movement, in society, whether you're a student and elsewhere. And that's why that is very important. And that discipline is not only personal discipline, but also is the discipline with which you engage with other people and bring it to bear, so that other people have your respect and they're able to embrace you and see the points that you're making and therefore cohere around those points.
Mr. Mtshali, I'm just looking around and I'm seeing the age of people that have come out here today. And we know that he was very passionate about young people. He brought young people close. He assisted a lot of young people. And they've said, I understand, that he was also still a member of the Young Communist League at this age.
Yeah, I mean, it's a reflection of what Comrade Eric Stalin was. It's important for us to make that kind of contribution in our youth. Also for us to be able to hold on to our history and get that into generations, so that you know, whilst we're moving far away from apartheid, it's important that we hold on to our history. It's important that we recognize the fissures that colonialism, apartheid, exploitation, and oppression of person by person has actually caused. Today we're confronted by a very important question, which is the issue of violence against women and children. And as you would have heard from many speakers, their references to Stalin also speaks to this matter. And therefore, as a society, as a people, and particularly as the South African Communist Party who is leading this campaign, we think it's important for us to come around it.
I'm just going to turn around here now with you as we observe the South African National Defence Force as they now carry the coffin carrying the body of the late veteran of the SACP, a veteran of the ANC, Ubaba Eric Stalin Mtshali. The cortege will now leave as they make the way out here. Of course, the family following behind his wife, Dinile Unene Mtshali. We also have the family, the Mtshali family, and many other dignitaries that have come out here today, ministers. There are also international guests that are here to pay their respects and bid farewell to this giant of the liberation movement. The funeral cortege will then make its way to Heroes Acre Cemetery in the township of Chesterville, where my colleague Sibonga Mbata, she will be there later on this afternoon when they arrive. And also he is going to be laid amongst heroes as well at that cemetery. But Mr. Matlako, as you see him leave now, there's been talk of it was during the memorial service when they said that he's in fact an unsung hero. He wanted to keep, he didn't want to be in the limelight. Do you think that he received the recognition while alive? I know that he's a recipient of one of the highest orders given to distinguished South Africans, and that was the Order of the Mendi for silver for bravery and his commitment and fighting during the liberation struggle. Just more that could have been done to honor, so that the young people and the people of South Africa are entitled to know about this man.
Well, the South African Communist Party conferred on him the award of Moses Kotane, which is the highest award that the party can confer on any individual in the party and outside of the party. But importantly, I think what Comrade Stalin takes with him is dignity and humility. And that has no size in any award. He might not have been on podiums and many other things, but with him he takes to his grave and has contagiously infected and affected other people with his dignity and with his humility. That for us is the most important thing, that we don't do things because there's an award and or a reward attached to it, but that when you're a servant of the people, selfless as he was, you recognize that it's important to take that and make that contribution to many people across the globe.
I know that there's been a lot of gratitude from yourselves as Communist Party leaders about the honor that the president has by giving him a special official funeral, deservedly so.
We recognize that and we appreciate that, and that's what we think, a caring government should be about and is about. That it recognizes those who made it possible for us to be at the point at which we are today. This democracy would not have been achieved for people like Eric Mtshali and others who contributed the most productive years of their life. They are youth, they are young adultness. They contributed that for us to be where we are today, to enjoy the fruits of freedom, and we should never let that recede into any backward neglect and or forgetfulness.
He's run well. He now goes and rests. What then do the generations to follow take from this man?
We take a lot from Comrade Stalin's life. Not only do we take the lessons of discipline, commitment, and as I said, humility, but we also take a very important contribution that a man like him spent a lot of time with his community, with his people in the struggle, and that for us means a lot. It means a lot to the working class internationally, it means a lot to the working class in South Africa. But he also joins the galaxy of other important freedom fighters who also come from this province, Moses Mabhida, Johannes Nkosi, and many others. And we think he will find eternal peace he has run his race.
His daughter Lindiwe, during the week when we visited the home, said one thing that she knows wherever her father is, looking at how the leaders of the alliance have come together united, considering the challenges that the alliance has been in, that until his last days wanted to see a strong, united alliance.
One of the things that I think we can give, in remembrance of Comrade Stalin Mtshali, is for us to optimize the workings of the alliance and for us to win the 2019 elections so that we stand a better chance of actually impacting on the social conditions of our people, making their lives better, fighting the social ills that confront us. That I think would be the greatest contribution.
You're just speaking about the elections, and I know that Dr. Dlamini-Zuma, at the end of her tribute to Baba Mtshali, asked for the blessings. You are going towards the elections. It's been a bit difficult period for yourselves as leaders within the alliance. You now need to lead, and you want the vote. She said that the speakers who've come up before, the General Secretary, Mr. Dlamini-Zuma, they've also heard from the former president saying that the African National Congress wants to win the elections, asking for his blessings.
Well, the ANC has got a historic mission. That mission has not been completed. The National Liberation Movement understands this, and that's why it's forging ahead with unity, it's forging ahead with cohesion and determination in the post-Nasrec period to build the features that are characterized leading up to Nasrec, and that we think it's what we can, say are the important things that Comrade Stalin would have wanted to see. And I think we stand at a better chance. We're at the crossroads, but we know what it is that needs to be done, and we're up for the challenge.
Thank you so much for your time. My guest there, Mr. Chris Motlako, representing the South African Communist Party, one of the leaders who have come out here today to bid their farewells to the man of steel, a revolutionary, selfless revolutionary. And today the people of KwaZulu-Natal have gathered here today at the stadium despite the weather to bid their farewells. The funeral procession will now make its way down to Chesterville, to the Heroes Acre Cemetery, where he will be laid to rest. I'm going to leave it here for now and take things back to you, Blaine, in studio.
Family members,
thank you so much.